Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind. I said, Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly. Still in the peaceful dreams I see, the road leads back to you. I said, Georgia, oh Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see, the road leads back to you. Whoa, Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. I said just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
Welcome race fans for yet another race at CAV Racing Network on the Sunday night. The only third race of the Sunday night Skippy League, and today we have Georgia on our mind. We are here in Road Atlanta where we have seen the madness of Skippies. Of course I can't do this all by myself, so Peter Lee, welcome yet to another race. What do you expect from this race?
Hi Pim, so good to be here. This has got to be one of the top 5 most favorite tracks for the Sunday Night Skippy League, Road Atlanta. Heck, I just love driving on this place too. Real test of skill. It's got a little bit of draft in the back, but keeps the racing close. So I think it's going to be some fun racing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, especially the Formula One race, where we always have that many cars driving around. How is it going currently? We're looking at the qualifications, I think.
Well, most people have gotten 2 laps done in their quali so far, and Dave Pickram is right now in the provisional pole. He's turned in a pretty respectable time at 1:37.7, and then he's followed. Oh, and Alex Othon just eclipsed that now at 1:37.6, and Ian Worrell, third fastest at this point at 1:38.2.
Yeah, let's have a quick look. We can drive along with Alex Othon, but I think he's parking his car. Is there anybody else who's still on a hot lap?
We have a newcomer to the league, Justin Divin, who is right now still out to complete his 3rd lap, and he's on the back straight at the moment. But all the other drivers have turned in their 3 qualification laps. And so as we stand right now, we have Alex Othon, Dave Pickram, Ian Worrell. That's your top 3. Then Chris Daniel, Nate Struhls, Jake Ashe, Joe Zubo, Rich Butler, and then Justin Divin still having to turn in his 3rd and final qualification lap time.
All right, so let's drive along with Justin Divin, new driver up here. Tell us a little bit about the corners where we're driving.
Well, this is turn 1. Turn 1 is super fast. Oh, and he's just finished and has decided to park it.
Always.
The thing that's fun about this track is it's got some really high-speed corners where you really have to steer the car with the throttle. It's got some beautiful S's, steep uphill, steep downhill. There's a long back straight, that really allows some drafting, and really hard braking, particularly at the end of the back straight, where it's hard downhill into a chicane, a prime passing zone. It's a tight chicane, and yet we'll see, 2 wide, sometimes even 3 wides going through that chicane.
Gonna have a quick look at the complete track. It's a beautiful day today. I think that works well. I'm not sure if we can already have a quick look at the temperatures. 96 Fahrenheit. That seems okay to me, Peter.
Yeah, I don't think anyone who knows Atlanta can, and you should know, Pim, since you're from Atlanta. 96-degree track temp. That's not too bad for this part of the world.
Yeah, I think it's October, so that's a good time to be here. I think if you would come back in July, we would have different temperatures. But I think for a Formula 2 race, we're going to see an exciting part. It's a small pack, relatively small, 9 people. Means we're going to see some real battles going on.
Oh, I think, it's going to be, I think pretty exciting. The start of the race, goes into a really high-speed right-hander, turn 1, going up the hill. And then, on cold tires, you're going down a steep hill through these S's. It's super slick in the first 2, 3, 4 laps. But people will be desperate to stay close to each other because if you can do that, then you can really benefit from the draft. And for people who aren't familiar with Skip Barber Formula 2000 cars, as they say, they punch a big hole through the air. And so there's a very strong draft effect. You can get quite a bit of extra speed if you can stay less than a second behind another car, especially on the long straight.
Yeah, and we will see definitely a different race here in Formula 2 than in Formula 1, where we probably see around 30 cars, and here it's only 9. So it's very important to stay in that pack. Don't make mistakes on the first laps. because if you lose this draft, then you're gonna have a hard time on this track.
Oh, it'll be really hard to make up ground if you do lose the draft. But you know, a wild card in this, as we've seen over and over again, Pim, is even though it's a short race, just 35 minutes, fuel is restricted to the point where these drivers are going to have to make at least one and probably two stops for refueling. And so that takes some skill, because the pit entry here is pretty tight, has a hard left and hard right, and has a pretty slow speed limit. And so, you know, it could be a game changer, whoever manages those pit stops better.
Yeah, so I like that we early in the morning when we do our racing for the BRL, that we always have a bet going on. So let's start a new one here in SNS. Which lap do you think Jake Ashe will pit? Is that lap 2, 3, or 4?
I think 4 is a good guess. You know, I think the pit window probably opens around lap 3, I'm guessing. And yeah, you and I see him make that undercut, and usually the first one to make a pit stop. And so that could be lap 4. What about you, Pim? What do you think?
I think he's going to go for 6. 6 is the magic number. Let's have a quick look at the qualification. We do see that David Pickram is on the first position with a 1:37.5. Really fast time, and Alex Alton is basically the same time on that second position. Ian Worrell 6/10 behind there, really good on that third position. And then we see Chris Daniel, Nate Rules, Rich Butler, Joey Zubo on the 7th position. Jake Ashe, surprisingly, a little bit in the back. I'm curious what he's gonna do on that. And then on the 9th position, Justin Divin from Georgia. Welcome in our league. Great to have them all up here.
Well, it's great for Justin to join one of our league races, I guess, with a little bit of a home court advantage for him.
Yeah, I'm curious how that will count for him.
Yeah. And I know you wanted me not to ask you, Pim, but I'm going to ask you anyway, since you're from Atlanta. Why haven't you been to Road Atlanta yourself?
Well, I think there was a pandemic going on, so I thought that was a good reason not to go. But I do see the lights go off, so let's talk about that another time. We see them go off over here with David Pickram in the first position. He's going off quite fast. And Alex Alton straight behind him.
And now watch this. Turn 1 is the first danger zone, especially on cold tires. It looks like everyone's taking that pretty conservatively. And as they climb this hill, they come and get super light as they crest and then go downhill through these S's. And it's like skating on ice for these first couple of laps coming down this hill. Like a ski slalom almost.
But it looks like they listened to the advice, and they're all staying pretty close together.
They're looking really solid. As they come down this short straight, there's a beautiful camber here. You can take that right-hander, turn 6, incredibly fast, but now you hard brake down to second, maybe even first gear. And this is maybe the most important exit right there, because the long back straight. And this is now where, you know, pack racing, Skippy style, will really take place.
Oh, and here we do see a move coming up.
Yeah, Alex going up, drafting.
Yeah, Alex,
and
he's taking it.
He's
He's taking it very slavey. And I think that's smart, because we're still far away. Not even past that first lap. Smart move of Dave Pickram.
And then back down the hill to the front straight, and it looks like our entire field getting through lap 1 all intact. Now, as these tires start to warm up, you know, you'll see the cars get a little more confident. You know, as tires really come into their own, you can really attack these turns, especially down these S's. It just, I don't know, I just think this is one of the most fun tracks to drive in any car. We did a bonfire racing league recruitment race in GT3 cars, just so much fun. In these Skip Barber cars, it's just a blast to drive this track.
Yeah, it's a really fun thing to drive. But I do have to say now, if you look at the positions, we have that basically the first three are really going quick. But is that Chris Daniel really losing the draft a little bit?
Yeah, I think Chris is out of the draft, and then Jake Ashe is out of Chris Daniel's draft, and so we really have the top three: Alex Othon, Dave Pickram, Ian Worrell, now in front, that in a way are helping each other because they're in each other's draft. We have further back Nate Struhls and Joe Zubo also tied together, and Rich Butler. Rich Butler really closing in on Nate Struhls, running there in P7 and P8. But the big battle is right now the battle for first place between Alex Othon, Dave Pickram, and Ian Worrell.
And I do see that Ian is also falling a little bit back, while we do see a big slide from Alex Othon.
There's been looks like Alex Othon went
yeah,
off in turn
Alex,
5.
we saw him coming into the road. That didn't go quite well, and he's out of this race, or at least he actually is coming back. I'm curious how that goes, but a great move for Ian Worrell, because he's suddenly on that second position and really close to Dave Pickram.
Yeah, it looks like Alex just overcooked it there. That last turn 5, coming out of the S's on the downhill. You can take all of the curb on the outside of turn 5, but it's a pretty hard high curb, and so sometimes if you catch a wheel on it just wrong, you'll lose the car, and I think that's exactly what happened to Alex.
Well, let's see if we can recap that a little bit. Yeah, we do see a nice save, by the way, because he didn't hit that much. I don't think he has any damage, but that's gotta hurt for him.
Yeah, well, he did a great job locking his wheels, and so kind of made it safer for the rest of the field and for himself.
Right, we're on lap 4, so I expect that Jake is coming in very soon, but Jake is currently on that 4th position. Made quite a bit of distance.
Yeah.
He's trying to get away from Joe Zubo.
And meanwhile, Ian Worrell has really closed up to Dave Pickram. And as they come around, turn 6 and 7 here.
We see Nate going
Nate.
off over there.
Yeah.
That's exactly the same thing as we saw earlier with Alex Othon.
Yeah.
And yeah, then that's a very hard time.
Boy, I've done that so many times. It's a weird thing when you hit that curb just the wrong way there. Boy. And did Alex Othon also have an issue there?
I'm gonna have a quick look, because I did see him. No, it was actually the same part where he crashed. Don't have to see that again for him on that one. Not his day.
No, it looks like Alex Othon just could not get out of the way of Nate Struhls.
Huh.
Suffered some damage.
Look at Ian Worrell, how close he is with David Pickram. But he's not attacking,
Yeah.
He's really staying behind there, showing David Pickram, I'm okay. Let's drive away from Chris Daniel.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be smart because, there's this technical part of the track where you can try to run away from people, but if you can't, then it becomes a draft track, and that back straight whoever's the second guy is going to have the advantage. And so, you probably want to be patient here, save fuel, try to shorten your pit stop, and then wait till the end of the race before you make your move.
Yeah, and Ian has plenty of experience. I remember still in the first season that we were driving with him, he is taking it a little bit more serious as it looks, because he's really, again, up that podium.
Just an update, Nate Strules and Alex Olfan, did both suffer significant damage or are in the midst of tows back to the pits, and it looks like Alex Olfan has just emerged from that and is back on track.
And currently we see Chris Daniel coming in very slowly. I'm curious what Dave Pickram and Ian Worrell are going to do when Chris is going to take off.
Yeah.
Clearly a different line here from Ian Worrell.
Well, and Jake Ashe has passed up the pit entry on his fifth lap and is on lap 6, so we're both wrong.
Yeah, right. That's no. We're right. Jake is unpredictable. This is exactly what Jake does. Like, if you think he goes, then he doesn't. We're driving along with him. He's taking full of the curbs over here. But he keeps his car very steady.
Boy, I'm just the edge of my seat every time these guys go past turn 5. But it looks like the leaders have navigated that safely.
David Pickram does slide a little bit. I think that's his driving style, because he's not in danger or anything.
Yep. Yeah, that right, that exit, it's turn 7. It's so important. It just sets you up for this long straight. Now it looks like Ian is going to look on the inside and make the pass on Dave Pickram, and it looks like Dave Pickram isn't contesting that at all. And again, I think they're both realizing it's a long race, and as long as
but they need to do something, because Chris Daniel is coming very close now.
Yeah.
Every time when Ian is driving over there, I think he goes into the pits. But he just has a different line over there.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's not slow.
I remember that last season because Ian and I were battling for position almost the entire race here last season in SF1. And I noticed in that turn 10 that he had an unusual line. Not turn 10, in turn 12, that downhill. And he would really take an inside line, and it was probably a little bit of a defensive maneuver on his part.
Well, I'm not sure why he does it, but it works for him. Although we do see that if you look here with Chris Daniel driving on the 3rd position, 2.6 seconds. And that was 3.6 seconds, so he really is pushing hard to get in here. Yeah.
It does look like Ian Worrell gets a little better exit out of turn 7 onto this long back straight, and so that could be important. And maybe that sliding that Dave Pickram does on that exit is not quite as effective. Although you see with the draft effect, Dave Pickram's closing up the gap to Ian Worrell dramatically on this back straight.
Yeah, but I don't see him real in danger.
Yeah.
Ian is driving very solid over here.
Well, another thing I know about Ian is this is also this might be Ian Worrell's favorite track.
And does he have a new livery going on? I never noticed that he had a red livery.
Yeah, it's a good question. That is new for sure.
I do have to say, driving in Road Atlanta with Nuke Cola on his car is a bit daring, but hey, we'll forgive him on the moment.
Well, better that than Pepsi.
Sorry, we just got a bleep on that one. David Pickram is looking behind them.
Let's see what the exits of this turn here, turn 7, look like.
So that livery of David Pickram, what do you recognize out of that?
Oh, it looks like Rich Butler now has had an issue coming out of turn 5. Boy, turn 5 is turning into a really treacherous part of the track.
Oh yeah, he goes in way too quick. Well, he saves it quite nicely.
Yep.
Don't see much going wrong.
Yeah, it looks like he just caught a little bit too much of the dirt. And again, that curbing on the outside there of turn 5 can cause the car to hop up a little bit. And you lose a little grip. And boy, that's really treacherous. It's something for us to watch out for in the SF1 race, Ben.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna put my camera straight over there. This is the third. We have 3 incidents all on the same position.
Yeah.
And that's gonna take a tough time for Rich Butler, who's still in that 6th position. Although I do say that Jake Ashe is driving the fastest time on the moment, 1:37.2. So he's really picking up as well, trying to catch Chris Daniel. We see him go through the S's over here.
You know, that exit turn 5, that bumpy curbing, even in a bigger car, a GT3 car, like the Ferrari 488, you know, just really could unsettle a car. Not always, but just if you just hit it a certain way, it just seemed to make the car hop. Look at Dave Pickram is really closing up the gap on this back straight, but looks like he backs off. I think he's happy to just stay in the draft behind Ian Worrell here.
Well, we're on lap 9. Nobody has pitted yet. What's going on? Dave, what are you doing?
Yeah. That's, he's passed it up again. So he'll do at least 10 laps before pitting.
Oh, we see Ian
it looks like
going in the pits.
Ian is in the pits. So we have our first taker.
Oh, and of course, Jake Ashe couldn't be the first one to pit. Well, he will be number 2. But I'm curious what we're going to see with Dave Pickram, because he was driving along with Ian quite well, and now he has to do that all by himself.
Yep. Rich Butler is now in the pit lane, and Justin Diven. So our first 4 takers for their first fueling stop, and Ian is back on track. And so is Jake.
And we're driving along here with Joe Zubo. It's currently on the 3rd position, but that's because everybody already pitted. Do see that he see Chris Daniel, and Chris Daniel is not a slow car.
Right.
I'm curious what they
Joe
do
Zubo
over there.
Yeah, and Joe Zubo's really trying to catch up to Nate Struhls. Nate's a lap down because of that incident in tow, but still turning in some good laps here, and Joe is probably wanting to catch his draft.
Alright, let's see if Dave Pickram got the message and has to go into that pit. This is where you see that pit is a little bit difficult. You need to take care, do a full brake over here because of the pit limiter. But he comes safely in. And he takes along Chris Daniel.
Yep. And so now it'll be very interesting to see where Dave and Chris come out with respect to Ian Worrell and Jake Ashe, who are just coming back up the hill through turns 11 and 12. And boy, Dave Pickram's pit stop seems very long. Okay, so now he's been released, as has Chris Daniel.
And they're coming out very closely, but I do think
Right.
that Ian, with the speed, he can pass him straight up here. Is he going to do that? Oh, no, he's not going to do that.
No.
He's holding it very safely. But that's very interesting. Look at this. Dave Pickram on that first position. Ian Worrell on the second. And Chris Daniel straight behind them. I think Chris Daniel took a lot of points up here.
You know, that pit exit, it is a little bit of, as wonderful as this track is, the pit exit here at Road Atlanta is a little bit sketchy because you come out going up the hill to turn 3, and it's turn 3 is at the crest of the hill where the car gets super light, and so everyone is trying to be careful, and when the slower car coming out of the pits turns in for turn 3, it creates a dangerous situation, you know, where I think just to be safe, you know, Ian Worrell really had to back off the throttle there. I'm noticing, Pim, in the Twitch stream, we're getting some chatter about some fans of Ian Worrell.
Of Ian Worrell? Fans of Ian Worrell? Who's that? Who does he have fans on?
Cavalcade Racing Network God, Chris Morrow.
Oh, yeah.
And he's also dissing the Ferrari, so I'll have to apologize to Chris later that I uttered the word.
Well, as I said in the stream, there's always room for an extra Chris in this broadcast. If he has the eager to say his opinion, definitely in Formula One we could use that. But currently we're looking at Ian Worrell driving on that second position, really close Dave Pickram and Chris Daniel. And right behind him, let's not forget about him, Jake Ashe.
Yeah. It looks to me like the big winner out of the first set of fueling stops was Chris Daniel. He's really made up some ground here on the two race leaders, Dave Pickram and Ian Worrell. And Jake Ashe also has come out of the first pit stop really well.
Yeah, if Jake plays this right, we're really going to see a 4 for the title, or for the race over here.
Yeah.
But you do see. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, it's great to see Chris Daniel also having a great pit stop like that. If you remember, you know, last season, Chris was leading races and had pit speed limit penalties that really ruined his races. And so
yeah, but it's so funny, Peter, that you talk about that, because I know that Dave Pickram had the same problem. And he was really upset about it, but it's like, yeah, that's what I've done in one race, and that's what everybody does in a race when you don't know about pit stops. We do see that Dave Pickram and Ian Worrell are really getting it on there. Close battle, and that only makes Chris Daniel getting closer. He's now actually into the draft, 0.9 seconds. Let's see how quickly he can get there, and if Jake also is able to get there, because Jake is currently... let's have a quick look on best times, but Jake is driving really fast times, a little bit faster than everybody else in front of him. But it's still 1.7 seconds, so quite a bit. And Ian Worrell looks like he's just saving fuel.
Yeah, but Ian's showing a lot of patience there, and it's, you know, the thing here, you would expect Chris Daniel to benefit from getting a tow from Ian Worrell, but Ian's getting his tow from Dave Pickram, and so that's allowing, or it's making it harder for Chris Daniel to make up the gap. A little further back, behind Jake Ashe, we have Joe Zubo running in P5, and Alex Othon in P6, Rich Butler in P7, Justin Diven in P8, and Nate Strules in for his second pit stop now.
Yeah, and while you were talking about that, I couldn't get rid of the screen watching Ian and David, because Dave Pickram is taking a really nice line, is not afraid, but Ian is really pushing right now. I think he wants to take that lead, but he just can't get it.
Yeah. Well, you and I know Ian really well on track, and if Ian sees an opportunity pass, I think he just cannot resist.
I do have sad news for the people that are following Nate's Trules. Nate's Trules has crashed. Let's have a quick look what exactly happened. Don't really see him going wrong. Oh, yeah, pit exit. Always difficult.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Boy, it's not Nate Struhl's day, and we normally see him driving much steadier and cleaner than he has been today, and so, but looks like he'll keep at it, which is great on him. Meanwhile, on the back straight, Ian's making a move on Dave Pickram, and is looking like he's made the pass, and Chris Daniel is closing in, but is going to back out.
Is he going to back out? Because he has a way better line over here. I think here he's going to get really close to Dave Pickram. And suddenly Ian is going away. Suddenly Ian is taking an extra move.
Yeah, Ian definitely looks like he has some pace here, and Dave Pickram is looks like he's driving a little bit defensively here.
Well, he can't drive too defensively because Ian Worrell has 8/10 driving away. Do you know if Ian Worrell actually won a race in Formula 2?
Oh, yes, I remember in the first season of Skippy Formula 2, he's at least one race. I remember he won. I think probably 2 or 3, actually.
All right. But at least it was in season 1, so we're a little bit further away already.
Yep.
What a sensation that would be if he would actually take the win over here, but nothing is said. Dave Pickram and Chris Daniel are so close behind them. And did Jake Ashe took his second pit stop already? So he was already done.
Yeah. That sets him up, and so it'll be interesting to see how that undercut works out for Jake. Jake is very, very focused and determined, and just focusing completely on Skippies this season. And looking to move up in the standings and win some races this season in Skippy Formula 2.
Well, see where he's coming from. I think it was 8th position. He is now up there on that 5th position and doesn't have to pit anymore. I really think he can go up to that podium.
Yep.
But currently, look at that Ian Worrell. He's jumping those curbs.
And now the excitement of turn 5 coming out right here. Boy, these drivers are all taking all of that exit curve, aren't they?
Yeah, and I don't think you get them off track for that one, so it is officially the track.
Yep. It looked like Ian got scrubbed off a little bit of speed on that turn 7 exit. Dave Pickram has got a great run, aided by the draft, and is going to make an easy pass, I think, here, coming down into the chicane. Boy, you know, Pim, for the Skippy Formula 1 race where we're going to have maybe 3 times more, 3 to 4 times more cars, I think we're going to see a lot of that maneuver, aren't we?
Oh yeah, definitely. And but I also think we're gonna see some gameplay. I've looked a little bit at training sessions, and you can see people are. It's not gonna be constant battles because you're gonna lose a lot of time in that. So I'm curious who's gonna be in the first group, and are they gonna hold that on? And then it's all about the pit strategy.
Yeah. Well, one thing about Skippy Formula 1 compared to this race, Skippy Formula 2 and Skippy Formula 1, there are hefty bonus points for leading laps. And so it's designed specifically to...
Oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. Ian is going next to it. Wouldn't expect that to be the position where you go overtake, but he does it really nicely. Takes that first position in. Suddenly there's a rush on it.
Yeah, that was a beautiful and brave pass going down the hill through those S's. Now, you can't really see it on the broadcast, but that's a steep downhill that you can take flat out in fourth gear, but it really tests the limits of grip in these cars. And boy, I don't know if I would be brave enough to go offline the way that Ian did. That was incredible.
And they're not done yet here.
No. Chris Daniels making a big move on Dave Pickram. And backing off before the chicane.
So those guys still need to go into the pit. I'm curious when they're going to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they can make it to the end, and so...
No, they can't make that. And we do see that Jake is losing a little bit. It looks like it's going to be between Ian Worrell, Chris Daniel and Dave Pickram.
Yeah, I think the tough thing about the undercut strategy that Jake attempted here is that he doesn't have a draft partner. And so, all this passing that's going on with these top three, it gives a kind of leapfrog effect. They all get helped every time there's a pass.
Definitely. And we do see that. Let's have a quick look. Alex Alton driving there all the way on the back. Actually, has a nice fight over there. Is that with Rich Butler? No, that's not with Rich Butler. No.
Oh. Well, since you mentioned Rich Butler, behind the...
let's have a quick look. Let's have a quick look. Sorry, Ian Worrell. There's something wrong with this connection. Seen a couple of times going in and out.
Oh yeah, you're right. Network issue. Uh-oh. That's got to make Chris Daniel incredibly nervous.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at Chris Daniel. See who has the better nerves on this one. Dave Pickram right behind there.
Chris Daniel is backing off here. He's giving a little more room, which is probably wise on Chris's part. So for people who are new to iRacing, this is referred to in the sport as net blinking, and it's an incredibly dangerous situation if there's an internet issue which causes this, because the car can reappear just at the wrong moment. The simulation is just making guesses in between the packet losses to where the car might be. But it could guess wrong, and if you're in the wrong place as a competing car, it could be disaster.
Oh, I feel so that this is like a Lando Norris situation. What do you do as Ian Worrell? You're in that number one position. You don't want to give up. You feel fine. You don't see anything going wrong.
Yeah.
And Chris Daniel thinks, where are you? Yeah, no, Chris Daniel, he just needs to wait over here, and if he goes, it's going to go wrong. Yeah. I'm waiting for that. I'll be honest with you, and I do think...
Looks like Chris is closing in, though, with the draft. And he's
going
to try to...
Oh, no. Oh, no.
It's not a bad move if Chris
It's not a bad move if he can stick it, and he can stick it, and Ian Worrell is going inside. But that's going to be Chris Daniel. Look at this, and immediately Dave Pickram is going in there as well.
Oh, here they're coming in for their pit stops.
So smart.
Dave Pickram.
Smart for Dave Pickram, who didn't do that, because he can drive away right now. Doesn't have to worry about blinker Ian. I would do the same thing.
Yep.
And now just run.
Yep.
Run, Forrest, run.
We'll get a read on how the undercut for Jake Ashe has worked out here. Jake is just coming down the hill now onto the front straight.
He's going now over finish line. And I do see that Chris Daniel is going on the pit exit, so I don't think it was 4 seconds when Jake left them.
Right.
So where are we right now? 4.5, 4.4? He's still gaining up here. He is exactly 4 points. So he didn't gain anything on this one. Oh, he's actually losing time right now.
Yep. It was a wash. Meanwhile, Chris Daniel has emerged, pretty well ahead, more than a second ahead of Ian Worrell. And so Chris will be looking to try to maintain or even lengthen that gap if at all possible. And of course, Ian will be desperate to catch up to Chris's draft. I think this next time around, the start-finish line will be the white flag lap.
But Dave Pickram he only once got in, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he has to go in right now. Yeah, I was wondering about that one. He has to still come in, so he's coming in right now.
And then Chris and Ian are going to the chicane, about to go back up the hill and down in order to...
Yeah, this is going to be very, very, very close.
Yes. And this will be the white flag for Chris Daniel and Ian Worrell.
All right, and Dave Pickram is driving out of the pit right now. See if he can actually gain advantage.
Oh, it's going to be so close. And looks like Dave Pickram has come out and is able to defend into turn 3. Oh, so close. I think Chris Daniel had to check up just a little bit.
So now we have Dave Pickram on the first position, Chris Daniel, and then Ian Worrell. Man, they keep changing. And oh, look at this. That is a really fast move.
Oh, and Chris, coming out of turn 5, has made the pass on Dave Pickram. Incredibly courageous pass there. Boy, all those incidents we've seen in turn 5, then to make that move, it's incredible.
That was an impressive move of Chris Daniel. Look at this, suddenly he comes out there and he really is on the fast lap.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that this...
Because now he's the sitting duck.
Oh, he's sitting duck, but don't we have one more lap, or is this the final lap?
I think this is it. The time is out now. Looks like Chris Daniel is not going to give up the position too easily. They're going to come down side by side into the chicane.
Oh, this is going to be very close. And look at this, Ian Worrell comes back. Ian Worrell comes back, he can't get back. And we do see Chris Daniel going a little bit tighter. This is a nice victory for Chris Daniel. Awesome to see that. Oh! Wow, this is an interesting race. And now it's waiting. Jake Ashe comes over the line. Joe Zubo.
Joe Zubo's crossing to finish good solid 5th. And Rich Butler making his way up the turn 11 hill and back down the hill through turn 12.
All right, Peter, this was a big race up here. I do know that we're gonna have to switch around to see our Formula 1 race, because of course, this was nice, but let's see how we can do this with 30 drivers. I am really looking forward to that one, but for now, let's do a quick break, and then we will be back as soon as possible. And a warm welcome back for the Skippy Formula 1 race that was gonna have here in Road Atlanta. And of course we have Peter Lee up here, but not only Peter Lee, we have of course Ian Worrell. Ian, thank you for joining again.
Hey guys, it's an absolute pleasure. I really enjoy doing this with you guys in the booth, and I have a lot of fun watching these guys laying down some sweet laps at Road Atlanta this weekend.
Yeah,
and I think we need to give you big congratulations for your third place finish in the Skippy Formula 2 race here just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, it was a really fun race. I like this track. I love the blind corners over crests, and I just really enjoy driving it. It's quite a challenging track.
Yeah, it's really a league favorite, isn't it? I think I love it too. It's just, yeah.
And I like both this long version and the short version, although I think for the Skippy, the short version is probably just a little bit more conducive to the car itself, you know, and makes the racing a little bit more fun because you don't have such long straightaways to draft on.
Well, I guess there are two types of people in the world, the people who like draft and the people who don't. And so I guess that kind of determines whether you like this long layout or not, because this long layout does have that incredibly long back straight that ends in that hard downhill braking into the turn 10 chicane.
Yeah.
It creates a lot of excitement, though. I mean, boy, you were in some real drama in that Super Formula 2 race.
Yeah, and while we talk about that, I want to make sure, let's have a quick look with Leo, and maybe you can drive us along, Ian.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Leo's coming down under the bridge, down the last hill, into the last final right-hander before he gets onto the straightaway, passes the start-finish line under the bridge, and heads down to this fast right-hander that then takes you, it's slightly off camber and uphill. And it's a tricky corner. You need to get your braking just about right. You just want to barely brush your brakes. You don't want to drop any speed. And then as you come up to the top of the hill, drop a gear, tap the brakes, rotate the car. It's a blind crest. You can't actually see where you're turning as you're coming up to it. And then all the way down through here is going back up through the gears, flat out all the way. These aren't really turns to Skippy. So you get to this turn here, touch the brakes, drop a gear sometimes, let the car run wide out onto what is the shorter of the two back straights. This corner coming up is a lovely corner, one of my favorites on the track. Get to just in between the two dashed white lines, touch the brakes, drop a gear, hit the gas, get it onto the rumble strips on the outside, down into second, round that tight right-hander, and you really, again, you're trying really hard not to lose any speed because this is your long back straight, which when you're on your own, you're punching a hole in the air, can take you quite a while. Go out, get a cup of coffee, change your clothes, have a shower, get back in the car, continue racing down this straightaway. And here's the big braking zone. Looking at these dashed white lines to time your braking. Slam on the brakes, drop a gear, round the two, through the chicane, back up a gear. Now you pick your line as you go over this blind crest, down into the final turn, let the car touch the inside, drift wide, over the finish line, and there's a lap. And that one with Leo was a 1:35.684. Fast race.
That's provisional pole. And boy, Ian, one thing I tell people is on the broadcast, you can't quite appreciate how steep these hills are. They're really steep.
They really are. And I mean, those corners are totally blind. If we did a shot from the cockpit of the car, you would really get an idea of, or even from the nose cone, if you really wanted to get an exaggerated idea of what some of these corners actually look like. That might be an interesting way of watching it.
Ian, one thing we noticed in the Skippy Formula 2 race is there were a lot of incidents, a lot of people losing the rear end of the car on the exit of turn 5, at the bottom of the S's.
Right.
And, it looked like maybe people were catching a wheel just wrong on that curbing. How was that turn for you?
I really didn't find it that bad. Again, it's not just about where you put your car, but it's also about where you put your power down. And if you put if you do, as you said, if you do have a tire on the grass, it is going to throw your car around. But I don't know. I mean, I just loved it. I love this track. It was just so much fun.
Well, it is, I think, really. I think it's not even just a league favorite, but you even hear a lot of the top streamers, that are on YouTube and Twitch driving with Skippy, just raving about this track on the iRacing service. Yeah, there is just something about it. It really has a little bit of something for everybody.
Hey guys, and while you're talking, I just want to mention Scott Bell, second position, 136.0. Look at this. This man has found some speed.
Oh, well, have we got any Scott Bell fans in the house tonight?
Yeah.
I don't know. They need to make themselves heard if they're there.
Well, and Scott Bell of the famous motion platform, and you've got to think that this is also just what a fun track to exercise a motion platform.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, we're looking right now with Adam Wright, that Chicago car. Been driving that one quite a while. Same with that scary helmet. Halloween is coming. Adam, for Adam, it's always Halloween, I think. But he's currently on that 4th position.
Look at Carl Dronke has turned in a 135.9 and is provisionally sitting in P2 now.
Guys, and what happens with Pete Mulbrotten? Pete Mulbrotten normally 4 top 5, driving currently on the 14th position.
Well, really, the top 11 drivers are all covered. Top 10 are all covered by 1 second so far, provisionally.
It's crazy. I mean, these boys are putting down some very, very quick laps.
Pete Mulbrotten is in the top 10 right now, number 8th position. Just drove a 136.2. Right behind Jeffrey Decker. And Rocco Horvath, look at that. I remember him from the V races, but apparently he's also quick in Skippy races.
That's a fantastic. Oh, and Chris Herrera just turned in a 135.8 and sitting in P2 now.
Uh-oh. Yeah, but look at Leo's 135.429. Oh my goodness me.
Boy.
Oh guys, I see a problem. Rocco Horvath, have you seen his livery? It's a Red Bull livery.
Uh-oh.
I've never seen a Red Bull livery actually finish a race. I'm not sure if that was a smart move, but Rocco, I'm rooting for you.
Hey, they did well. They did well today in the Formula One race. They came 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah. Oh, Jeffrey Decker just took P2 away from Chris Herrera with a 135.7. So we have Leo Ovcharov, Jeffrey Decker, Chris Herrera, Mike Bowers, Carl Dronke as your top 5 qualifiers.
And just a few more seconds to go as the clock's ticking down. 30 seconds left in this qualifying session.
Yeah, and Scott Bell is still out, although no, it looks like Scott has completed his qualifying. He's sitting in P7.
But that's a great job for Scott.
Fantastic.
Really well done.
Yeah, surprising top 5, I have to say. Of course, Leo and Jeffrey are there. Chris Herrera, I would expect, but Mike Bowers, Rocco Harvard, Scott Bell, it's surprising names up here.
Yeah, Gurkan Demir, P10, continues his string of top 10 qualifying this season. Yeah, just showing all kinds of speed.
So I think that sets the grid then for the race.
Here we see Dave Pickram, 19th position, just finished that Formula 2 race and is ready for this Formula 1 race. Matt Zepka on 21st position, and he's with Attrition Teams, and maybe that's good to have a quick look at our results from last part. Let me do a quick...
Yeah, this season in Skippy Formula 1, we have a team competition, and there's a set of just really great teams that have been competing.
Yeah, so we have our team position and we have our standings. In the standings, we see Adam Wright on the first position, Mike Bowers on the second, and Joshua Dancy on number 3. But everything is really close by. So even Leo, we've seen him in the first race. He had a small accident, but is up there again in the 6th position. And in the teamings, we have back of the pack racing. Do you know who those guys are? Because that's going to be the challenge. Who is back of the pack and the 2 nice guys? Because they're really running away up here.
Gherkin Demir, and I'm not sure who the other one is.
Well, it's going to be someone who has like 109 points.
Boy.
That's it's nice to see.
This team competition is just looking so tight.
So what do we really expect in this team competition?
Well, the team competition does not take into account drop weeks, and so
Ray is just telling. Sorry to cross you. Ray is just telling us McLeod and Demir are back of the pack.
Look at that.
Yeah. So consistency, showing up to every race, those things will count for a lot in the team competition. For the individual standings, you get to drop your 3 worst races of the season, and so it's a little early to tell what the true standings are for the individual standings, but for the team standings, there are no drop weeks, and so those drivers that show up are showing some consistency. I think are going to end up doing well, or at least have a chance.
The madness of Skippy has started. They're even on the hill over there.
Yeah. Boy, Ian and Pim, because we've raced a bunch in Skippy Formula 1, and when you are in this grid and you just look at the sea of Skippies ahead of you.
Here we go. Let's see if they get away cleanly through the first set of corners.
Boy, this turn 1 and then down the S's and cold tires is just so treacherous.
It sure is. And so far,
it's looking safe through turn 1.
Oh, a big accident over there.
Oh. At the exit of turn 3, boy, that's right at one of those blind crests. Oh, and it looks like someone has gone very wide out.
Yeah, and I think that's our Red Bull livery.
Yeah, Rocco Horvath, the exit of turn 5.
I think Paul Bachelor was involved in that somehow.
Yeah, and Jonathan Dockery.
Oh, that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, he was a victim.
Couldn't do anything over there. Gets fully hit.
Yeah.
That beautiful livery of Jonathan Dockery is hurt over there.
Yeah, that's brand new paint for Jonathan. Just, boy, what a beautiful car that is. But boy, that's incredibly bad luck.
That's
heartbreaking.
Bad luck, and we do have to remember that Leo has a drive-through penalty in previous races, so he is driving on the front over there, but I'm curious when he's gonna come in.
Well, again, he has 3 laps to serve it. Pick your time. I would probably want to run my 3 laps and do it on the 3rd lap. That way, at least I've gapped part of the other field. I won't have gapped the front runners, but I maybe will have got a little bit of a gap behind the back markers. And just jump in there. Make sure you switch off your tires so you don't get those changed. Tell your pit crew, don't change my tires and don't gas me. He just wants to do a drive-through and not stop in the pit box. And some people do make the mistake when they're doing their drive-through of actually stopping in the pit box.
That's right.
Which you mustn't do, because if you stop in the pit box, it does not count as a drive-through penalty.
We're currently driving away with Chris Herrera, who is really close into Leo Octave of Tarov. Fun to see that Chris is always quick over here. And he's really grabbing the draft over here. I'm curious if he's going to take the risk of an overtake over here, but he does.
I think he will. Yep. Because one thing we know about Chris is that he loves the bonus points for leading a lap. You get a bonus point. And then you also get bonus points for leading, multiple laps. Laps that are multiples of 5 of the total race laps. And so, those points matter a lot in the season standings. So no surprise for Chris to take that position.
And Scott Bell, Gurkan Demir, Pete Mabrotten, and Adam Wright are all battling away like crazy. I can see Scott with his send it send it message written in his number 8 position. He's coming around, going up the hill, up into the blind crest where that accident we were just talking about happened. Very, very close to the back of Pete Mabrotten, almost welded on there.
I'm wondering if something happened to Joshua Dancy in those early incidents, because Joshua has really lost the pack he's running the P30, which is not typical for him.
Yeah, I think he was maybe involved in that mess where he got caught up in it a little bit.
Well, he's got his work cut out for him now.
But look at this group all being led by Chris Herrera.
Yeah. And now Leo, let's see if Leo leapfrogs.
Yeah, Leo's leapfrogging him.
Yep.
But again, now you see, again, I keep thinking strategy. I mean, one of the things...
Look at Carl Drunke, just being very... I think he was thinking about making it 3 wide, but thought better of it. Slotted in behind Leo.
3 wide gets a little sphincter puckering at times, I must admit.
Well, we have this...
We do see that Leo is taking a spit.
He's doing his drive-through.
Yep.
So I'm going to have a look at Leo and see what he's doing. Yeah, he's trundling down through pit lane, keeping going. Hopefully he remembers not to stop in his pit box. Yeah, he's keeping it wide. But my God, he's dropping back, and he's in the pit exit now, and he is going to come out just behind Thomas Fotos. It looks like. No, where is he? He's coming out. Where is he now? He is
behind Thomas Fotos in P20.
Yeah, in P20. So he's got a lot of work to do.
Yep.
To sort himself out now if he wants to get anywhere back near the front runners.
So meanwhile, we have this pack of 8 at the lead, with Carl Drunke now in the lead, followed by Chris Herrera, Jeffrey Decker, Mike Bowers, Adam Wright, Pete McBride, Scott Bell, and Gurkan Demir. And then after that, another pack of 4 with Max DiGiacomo, Michael McLeod, J.R. Hoops, and Rocco Horva. And that's your top 12 runners at the moment. And then I'm looking here, Pim, at a pack of cars starting at P13, Steve Dewar. And he's in this very tight group now, involving Sean Ross, Aaron Law, Dave Pickram, Andrew Cole, and Jeff Torbeck.
Yeah, this is, like I say, this is such a fun track. If you can keep up with the person in front of you, you can start to work together. We keep talking about this, right? Work together, do the leapfrog thing, change each lap. Each person takes a turn leading, and you will pull yourselves up to the people in front of you.
Yeah, we just saw, Steve Dewar and Sean Ross at the top of that P13 pack exchange positions, and that does help as long as they make those passes easy and clean and fast.
Yeah, as Jeffrey Decker sets the fastest lap of the race for 1:35.58.
And he's taking the lead.
He's down in P what? Where's Jeffrey?
He's in P1.
Oh yeah, he's in P1 now. Good Lord,
Yeah.
look at him go.
We're seeing Jeffrey Decker, Chris Herrera, and Carl Drunke basically playing leapfrog with Mike Bowers, Adam Wright, Pete McBride, and Scott Bell, and Gurkan Demir just happily staying in their draft behind them. But I'm really loving this P13 to P19 pack now that Leo Ovcharov is caught up to them. They're currently led by Sean Ross and Steve Dewar, P13.
Just having a quick look at the gains. We've got Aaron Law up 10 places into P15. We've got Steve Doer up 7 into P13. JR Hoops, McLeod up 6 into P10. We've got JR Hoops up 5 into P12.
Guys, I have a problem. I can't get rid of the cameras. I have to watch the first group. Look at this, the top 10. They're making chaos over there.
Yeah, they are going fast. They're turning laps in the 135s. They're staying in each other's drafts. They're leapfrogging. That's just causing them to gain even more time on the next pack. But there are these other packs, like I'm looking now at P19, Brian Perez, in his own pack with Benjamin Harris, Jason Berkheimer, Jake Ashe, who's up 10 spots, and Matt Shepka. So there are these like clumps of 5 or 6 cars all up and down the track.
It's really cool to see this race. It's such a lovely track. These guys are racing hard but racing fair, which is awesome.
Oh, back up front, it's Jeffrey Decker is making a big move, passing both Carl Drunke and going side by side with Chris Herrera in the chicane.
Let's have a quick look how that went, because that was a big move, getting them both on that inside. Oh wow, that's an awesome move and made it stick. But also Chris Herrera gave him enough space over there.
Yep. Well, and we were predicting, Pim, while we were watching SF2, that we would see a lot of side-by-side action in that chicane. You wouldn't think, if you're hot lapping this track, that would happen, but it happens all the time here in Skippy Formula 1.
It does, because you come charging down that huge long straight, you get the draft of the person in front of you, you're able to pull out, and of course both of you are pinning the throttle at that point, and you end up entering into the chicane together, and you have to be very aware of where that other car is in relation to where you are, to make sure you give them enough space. As Chris Herrera closes up on the back of Carl once more and drafts past him, and Jeffrey Decker thinking about making a 3-wide sandwich with him as the meat.
And you get the feeling that Carl Drunke doesn't mind at all playing this leapfrog, because they're all getting faster doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. As Decker takes the lead from that inside position, Drunke dropping back into third, Chris Herrera in second. And the interval now from Drunke back to Mike Bowers is 0.6 of a second. So if these guys keep doing that, they'll eventually drop Mike off the back as Chris Herrera pulls out behind Decker to take a lead going up the hill. Decker's not having any of it, keeping his foot in the floor. And they all close.
Oh,
a little bit
touch
of
wheels
there. Yeah, I think so. I think there was a little bit of a touch.
Yeah, and that caused them, that's given Mike Bowers, Pete McBride, and Adam Wright a chance to catch back up. That's bad.
So as Decker gave him the opportunity to get a half-second interval, which is now 0.6 off Herrera. So he pulled out a little bit of a gap as Pete McBride takes a very different line through that corner.
There are some questions about Leo. I do think that he is lost on this track. I think he is out.
That has significant implications for the penalty that he serves, because I believe by rule he has to complete a race distance. And so, if he's unaware of that, he should get back into the session and try to complete at least 85% of the laps for the penalty to have been served.
That's good that you mentioned that. You really know all the rules. We see here Jeffrey Decker, Chris Herrera, and Carl Drunke really close, working with each other. You see Mike Bowers going into the pit. Mike Bowers is already pitting.
Uh-huh. So
He's
he
gonna
may
have
be the
two
first.
stops. It's going to be 2 stops, so it's going to be interesting to see how he plays this one. Is he going to short fuel and pop back out? Is he going to fill it up and go as long as he can? And he's got so many options, you know?
Yeah.
Hey guys,
I'm
and,
looking back down at P7 or P16, this group led by Andrew Cole, Jeff Torbeck, Benjamin Harris. They've been really going at it with each other. And that's allowing then in P19 Jason Berkheimer, Brian Perez, Jake Ashe to make up some ground to them.
Well, that's Mike Bowers has come out in P20 right behind Berkheimer. And so he's going to join that pack. But we'll see how it all goes as they all cycle through. I have a feeling it's going to be fast and furious at some point in time as everybody's going to suddenly dive for the pits.
Right. And it looks like Jeff Torbeck just passed going into turn 6, Andrew Cole. But they're doing their own leapfrog, and that's probably intentional as well, just like we're seeing at the front of the field.
yeah, well, you say that they're actually doing the leapfrog. Chris Herrera is taking over from Jeffrey Decker. Right behind there, Carl Dronke. But what do you think about Pete McBrotton? Is there on that 4th position? He's really slowed in and he's going into the pits. Look at that. I talk about him. He's going into the pits. We know he's a strategist. I'm really curious how far he's going to go with this.
Well, one thing we know about Pete is that he loves saving fuel, just riding in the draft. He's very patient that way, shortens his fuel stops, and we've seen him work magic by just having shorter pit stops than everyone else.
And Pete is heading back out. So is McLeod, who was also in the pits. And Pete looks like he's going to be out in P18. McLeod's coming out in P19. Both of them are ahead, however, of Mike Bowers.
Yeah, we do see that the first 3 are getting a little bit away. Adam and Adam Wright.
I think McLeod has had an issue in turn 1, I believe.
No, I think that's Jake Ashe with Tom Fodos. If I see that correctly, but let's have a quick look because we do see Adam Wright now getting back to Carl Dronke on that straight. They need to hang on. Great to see Scott Bell and Gurkin de Meer right behind there as well.
Yeah, I think it was not McLeod. McLeod had to avoid Charlie McCarty, who had spun out of turn 1. What happened there?
Guerrero is going into the pits.
Jeffrey Decker, Carl Dronke, Adam Wright, Scott Bell. Yep. Max
Scott Bell.
And so we will see how they come out with respect to Mike Bowers and Pete McBrotton.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to start a game with It's Gamer Sarah. Every time we say Scott Bell, you have to drink.
Who's coming out first? Now we're really seeing Adam Wright. Adam Wright was the quickest one here. He's a little bit behind, but he makes a really good move. Look at this.
Around Carl Dronke.
Yep. Right up behind Chris Herrera as they rejoin the pack in 6th, 7th, and 8th place. 9th for
But behind Pete McBrotton. Am I seeing that correctly?
Behind Pete, but in front of McLeod.
Yes. And so, no surprise to see Pete McBrotton sort of win positions out of that first round of pit stops.
And how's the fight going on with Aaron Lee and Steve Durr?
Yeah, and let's see, who is that in front of Aaron? That's Sean Ross. Looks like Aaron's really pouring on the pressure there. But, this is another little group of 4. It's Sean Ross, Aaron Law, Steve Durr, and Dave Pickram, all battling for P14. Another little draft pack.
Yeah. Yep. And good for Dave for being in there. We had a great little tussle in the SF2 race.
Oh, that was an epic tussle.
Quite fun. And there were a few sphincter puckering moments and some big surprises. I was like, where did he go? Where is he? How come he's beside me and I'm in the S's? This doesn't make sense.
It looked like Aaron has leapfrogged with Sean Ross down the back straight and is now running in P14. He's up 11 spots from where he started.
That's really good racing there. Steve Durr's up, +6, +8, something like that. He's just cycling around as people go in and do pit stops. So it's messing with my numbers here. But this is a very close. Steve is all over the back of Ross now. And I'd like to see Pete up in the top 10. I think he should be, the way he's been racing, he should be up there a bit further. And it'd be good to see him progress a little further up the pack.
Yeah. Well, with Jeffrey Decker and Mike Bowers in the lead, they've got to be watching their mirrors with Pete Broughton and Chris Herrera, Carl Dronke, Adam Wright behind them.
And Scott Bell gamely working to keep up with that pack as it runs forward.
Look at that, and Carl Dronke there, over there. Oh!
Game Sarah wants to know if she can drink when we say Decker or more Broughton as well. I don't know, Sarah. I don't think we can be that responsible for your liver.
Oh, guys, but I'm just curious. Where is Scott Bell? I haven't seen Scott Bell yet. Scott Bell is there. Oh, I can see Scott Bell. Let's see how drunk she gets.
What's that noise that's pulling up a chair?
Scott Bell running P7 and
he's doing really well. He's doing really well. Kept his position. He's not up or down anything. Just did a 1:35.856.
But he is losing Adam. Adam is really holding on to the back of Carl Dronke, and I think that is working for him right now.
But the gap between Bell and Wright and Adam, between Scott and Adam, is 2.3 seconds. So it's going to be very hard for Scott unless he can find someone to sort of work with and build that draft with to get back up into that pack. Oh, and there's been a crash. There's been a crash.
Oh.
Chris Herrera made a crash over there, but is really good in immediately getting off the track. And he is able to go further.
So it looks to me like Pete Broughton
got
into the back of Chris Herrera, tapped him, and then braked, managed to get around him on the grass, and Chris just backs the car off, out of the way, lets the rest of the pack through, makes a safe rejoin, making sure that he's not taking anybody else out, especially the dude driving the Red Bull car.
It looked like Chris may have checked up a little bit.
Yeah. I don't see anything wrong with Pete Broughton. I did look now twice at it. It was really Chris Herrera who just overcooked it over there. But that makes it interesting in this race. You have to do this for 45 minutes. A long time.
Chris may have been braking a little bit later than Jeffrey Decker ahead of him. And, it'll be interesting to see how the stewards look at that. But it looked like just a racing incident.
Yeah. And the other problem we have with these is you never are quite sure how close you can get to the person in front of you before you get any netcode issues.
Yep.
Which is the other thing we've got to deal with. It's not like if it was a real physical car, you either hit them or you don't. Whereas, being an online sim, there's always an element of I didn't actually hit him, but the computers thought I did.
Right. Hey, I wonder what happened to Gurkan Demir, who's running in P26. He's in a tight battle for P25 with Thomas Photos, Gurkan Demir, Joshua Dancy. And we must have missed some incident or some issue that Gurkan had because he was running.
I missed like 30 drivers. I'm focused on a couple of them. No idea what happens with the rest. I do see that on the back of on the front, really Mike Bowers and Jeffrey Decker has found a way to work with each other because they're running a little bit away from the rest of the pack.
Yeah. Well, and that incident with Chris Herrera and Pete Mobrotten really does help them a lot. But you're right; they've created a gap. Let's see, how much of a gap to of almost 2 seconds to Carl Drunke running in third.
And you can clearly see that Jeffrey Decker is not making much attention for Mike Bowers. Just following along right now, especially if we have a second pit stop. But they are 1.7, 1.8 seconds away from Carl Drunke. Look how Jeffrey Decker throws that car in the turn 5.
He's a lap or two down because of that first lap incident, but Jonathan Dockery back on track is really showing up some good lap times and is just sticking right up there with right next to Adam Wright. And
this is the
Carl
best thing. Jonathan is not
Pete
afraid for
Mobrotten.
that. He can do this.
Yeah.
He knows how to drive these races. He knows how to handle blue flags. And look at this. You got a clear advantage driving with this pack.
Yeah, and it's like he's just has all the same pace with these guys, and it's just that unfortunate early race incident. Boy, that is beautiful new paint that he has, though.
Yeah, I love to see that car.
So
All right.
it's looking good for some of these guys as Jonathan's taking, as you say, great advantage of this and getting pulled around the track. Probably much to the dismay of some of the folks he's supposed to be racing against.
All right, let's see. Now we're gonna see some fun. Here we see Pete Mobrotten is driving a little bit on his own up here. He's really missing Paul Drunke in front of him. He has now to fight with Michael McLeod and Scott Bell right behind him.
Pim, I'm still having tons of fun watching this battle for P14, being led right now by Aaron Law, but it also involves Dave Pickram, Jeff Torbeck, Jason Berkheimer, and Benjamin Harris. They're down in P14, but boy, they're really going at it. It's just been this group for a while now.
Yeah, this is a fun group to watch. I do have to say, Jack Ashe, our pit stop strategist, has crashed, so I don't think we're going to see him anymore back.
No, that's unfortunate.
But you're right, this fight with Dave Pickram, Jeff Torbeck, Jason Berkheimer, I think Benjamin Harris is right behind there as well. All very close.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Let's have a quick look. What's happening up front? Mike Bowers and Jeffrey Decker. How are they doing?
Well, it's a Sunday drive for them right now, as they just keep turning those laps. They're pulling away now. They've got a 2-second interval over Carl Drunke, so it's a two-man race at the moment with those guys out in front with this big interval. It's going to be interesting to see if Adam and Carl can work together to catch back up with them.
Oh, there's been an issue in the chicane. It looks like involving Joshua Dancy, Thomas Fotos. I'm not sure exactly what happened there.
Well, we're going to have a look up here. We do see Thomas Fotos actually just driving into the person in front of him. Not sure who that was. I think that's Joshua Dancy.
That's Joshua Dancy.
Yep. Yeah. That was a clear overcooking the brakes over there.
Yeah.
Stewards will have to have a look on that one.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he just outbraked himself on that one. It's very easy to do if
we see Adam Wright over here with Carl Drunke going again at it, and Jonathan Dockery is just driving along. Keep following. Look at that, and it's funny to see that Pete Mobrotten and Michael McLeod and Scott Bell are not really getting closer. Scott Bell is, by the way, really in there now.
Yeah. Well, for Jonathan Dockery, look, we've all three of us have been in this situation where something bad happens on lap one, And you get out, and you're just driving mad. And if you can catch the draft and just stay with people, you can be pretty fast. We're kind of seeing that from Jonathan right now. But boy, Jeffrey Decker and Mike Bowers, they now have a 2.6 second lead over Adam Wright and Carl Dronke.
Yeah, they're really just working together, pulling those laps out. You know, Decker's very happy sitting up in front, ticking the boxes. Give me another lap led, another lap led.
Yep. Yeah. So the way for people who aren't aware in Skippy Formula One, if the total number of laps in a race, let's say, is 27, you round it up to the nearest multiple of 5. So 27 rounded up would be rounded up to 30 laps. You divide 30 by 5, that's 6. So that means for every 6 laps led, you get an extra bonus point. And so it really is meant to encourage people trying as hard as possible to take the lead in races.
I do hope that they're not calculating that while they're racing, because then they get a little bit crazy. We do see Mike Bowers going in here, in the pit up here.
It's taking a slightly different strategy.
Yeah, that's an interesting call there, because you wonder...
you're driving along with Jeffrey Decker. What do you want?
Yeah, that's an interesting choice, and I wonder if Jeffrey's probably scratching his head on that one too. It'll be interesting to see how that works out for Mike.
So Mike is in the pits,
and you can see here clearly in this view how Jeffrey Decker what is 2.5 seconds up to Carl Dronke, right behind him Adam Wright. And then 2.5 seconds with Pete Mabrotten.
So Bowers is now driving back out, and he comes out behind Dave Pickram.
So he's going to be joining that tight group involving the battle for P13 with Aaron Law, Jeff Torbeck, Jason Berkheimer, Benjamin Harris, along with Dave Pickram. That's work to do. Of course, they'll all have to pit. But I guess if you're going to come out behind a group, that's not a bad one, because they're running some pretty fast laps in the 135s.
Yes, they are. And let's see here if I can figure out...
So what do you guys think? Is Jeffrey already going into the pit, or is he just going to run it as long as possible? I think he's going to go in right here. No, he's not.
No? Wow.
Well, he's staying out. That means Carl stays out. No, Carl doesn't stay out.
Yeah, Carl's gone in. Very interesting.
Lots of different strategies being played here as Chris sets fastest lap of 1:34.89.
Yep. Pete
Max is also coming in. We see Herrera coming in.
Yep.
Yeah, it must be just they need to get in and get that extra fuel as we tick down to 31:30 elapsed, 31 minutes and 30 seconds elapsed.
Look at this. I'm driving along with Scott Bell. Remember that he has a rig that can move. Well, he's using that as optimum. His car is moving everywhere. And he has them written in his front of his steer, send it. Well, I think that's what he's doing right now on that third position. Really making an effort up here. He has Adam Wright and Jeffrey Decker right in front of him. You can actually see Jeffrey Decker of Adam right over there, with of course Jonathan Dockery right behind him. Yeah. Jonathan Dockery is like a fish on like a shark. He just keeps following, following. But that means he has the speed. It's really bad that he had that incident.
Yeah, that's really heartbreaking there. But he sure is showing up well right now. So that's really great.
Yeah.
All right, and now Jeffrey Decker is going into the pit, so that will bring a lot more people in as well. Whoa! Jeffrey Decker goes really close to the wall over there, nearly hits it. But that's what that means. Maybe a tenth of you have over here.
And Adam Wright and Scott Bell following into the pit lane. Rocco Horvath also in the pits.
So they're cycling around. This should be the last stop for everybody.
Yeah. JR Hoops.
Through the end of the
is now in
race.
pit lane.
Scott pulls up right in front of Adam Wright. And, and Adam's leaving, and so is Jeffrey. And Scott's still sitting there. Gone for a slushy, I think.
Rocco is now also gone.
And Jeffrey Decker comes back out in P1.
Yep, ahead of Mike Bowers, Adam Wright, and Carl Dronke. And
not just ahead, he's 1.8 seconds ahead.
Yes.
So he's clear of the draft, although he went very wide there and dropped 0.2. But he's clear of the draft of Bowers. So it's going to be much harder unless Bowers and Wright work together to catch up with him.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. I do think that Adam is going to fight it over here.
He's bleeding some time. He goes really wide on the exit. And the gap is down to 1.4 and closing. So let's see what happens. He's not quite using the extra weight yet.
That turn 7 exit, Ian, isn't it so important to set up this long straight?
Probably one of the most critical corners on the race. I think the really two critical corners are that corner, turn 7, which is a blind right-hander, and I think turn 1, T1, are the two probably most critical corners. And in fact, I think 7 is probably more critical than 1, because if you get 7 right, you will have a speed advantage all the way down that straightaway over anybody in front of you.
Yeah, and then on that back straight, Adam Wright and Mike Bowers leapfrogged, so that did close up the gap to Jeffrey Decker now to 1.25, 1.25 seconds.
Yeah, so they could do it. They've got 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes to go. If we're doing what we're doing in terms of our lap times, we're doing about 1.35s. So you've got, what, about 3 and a bit laps, maybe 4
Actually,
laps?
but I'm showing 9.5 minutes to go. So I don't know if my timing is off here. But JRT, not to give them a plug, but it's a tool I use, is saying 7.5 laps remaining.
We'll see how it goes as Bowers climbs right up on the back of Adam Wright. Pete McBride Carl Dronke sitting right behind them. Pete McBride another 5 seconds adrift from the back of Carl Dronke. And he's going to have a hard time catching up with him as, again, Adam and Mike Bowers leapfrog each other. Let's see what speed they're doing. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking at the relative speeds. Decker's doing a 197 kilometers per hour. Bowers is doing 198 kilometers an hour, and he's behind him.
Well, I can make it very simple. Mike Bowers is going to catch him. He's now in the draft, and you can clearly see Jeffrey Decker up here. If Jeffrey Decker is going to make one more mistake, and I think he did it right over there. Mike Bowers and Adam Wright are right in there, and I even think Carl Dronke has an opportunity over there.
He does.
Yes.
And you have to figure on this back straight, if Adam Wright and Mike Bowers just leapfrog one more time, they're going to have a lot more straight line speed coming down that back straight.
Just keeping an eye on folks' top speed as they come along through turn 7 onto the back straight. To see now, Jeffrey is catching up with someone who might give him a bit of a draft. We'll see.
Let's see, and I'm watching the gap between Jeffrey Decker, Mike Bowers, and Adam Wright, and it is closing up.
Look at this, Adam. Adam, is he going to go? No, Adam is going to wait over here. He could do it, but it's not making him faster.
Yep. Well, and in fact, now Mike is benefiting from Jeffrey's draft, so it's a little bit harder. But they're fully in Jeffrey's draft now.
But Bowers is still being his top speed. Well, this is not showing me current speed, unfortunately. But it did show me that Bowers got up to 201 kilometers an hour, which is one of the fastest speeds on the track at the moment. Taking full advantage of that draft as the clock continues to tick down.
Hey guys, just before we come to the final end, I do want to have a quick look back at Brian Perez and Benjamin Harris, because they're still at it. We left, they come back, we still are there. David Pickering.
They have not let up. They just have not let up this whole race. It's
it's great to see that fighting over there.
Well, and Dave Pickering in the mix there too.
Go Dave.
Yeah, and you think of Dave, man, how hard he had to race. He must have been drenched in sweat after Skippy Formula 2. Well, and then to be doing this for another 45 minutes, Skippy Formula 1.
Hey guys, and what about Rocco Horvat? He's really surprised me with that Red Bull livery. He's still on track. He's currently number 10. And he has a quick fight with Max and Chris Herrera.
Oh boy, yeah. And actually that battle for P8, that Chris Herrera is in P8 right now. But Chris Herrera, Max Jacobo, and Rocco Horvat, that's another kind of just a tight battle.
Yeah. And Chris Georgian-Dellis, he's up 5 spots, just ahead of Rich Buffler, who's up 6 spots, which is well done to them. Matt Rapetska is up 5, Brian Perez is up 8, Benjamin Harris up 11 places.
So if you look at the championship, we do see that Adam Wright was in that first position, Mike Bauer second, and Joshua Dancy on the number 3. So it's only Joshua Dancy who's not up here in that top 3. It's going to make it very close. And I'm curious what's going to happen with Leo.
Yeah, really interesting. Yeah, Joshua Dancy is in a little bit of pack, but he's sitting in P23 behind Andrew Cole and Gurkan Demir. And so probably not the race that he was expecting, but turning in fast laps, has turned in some 135, mid 135 laps already.
Yep, and we're down to 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the front. Go ahead.
Mike and Adam are right up to the back of Jeffrey Decker now.
Yep. So now things are going to get strategic here, because the next time around, they probably have 3 laps to go in the race, and where do you want to be, 1, 2, or 3 on the last lap?
Oh well, I think you either want to be 1 or 3, because being 2 is horrible. You're trying to keep up to the back of number 1, and you're trying not to allow number 3 to pass you. So you're splitting your attention far more. If you're in 3, you're just trying to get past 2 and past 1. And if you're in 1, you're just trying to keep 2 behind you. So 2, second position in there is always the hardest one, I think, personally, to manage.
But if you're 1, aren't you a little bit of a sitting duck on the last lap, or
to
can you?
To some extent, yeah. I mean, what you do is, and as we see Jeffrey go quite wide there, what you do is you just have to be very strategic about where you put the car. Yeah. In other words, you want to force everybody else to go and have the hardest possible way of passing you. So if you're going to go into a corner, you want to be on the outside. Force them. Sorry, you want to be on the inside. Force them out, so they have to drive around you. As Jeffrey seems to put a little bit more space between himself and Bowers, who's trying to keep Adam right behind him. I think Mike is probably more in a position where he might lose second to Adam Wright as they go down the straightaway here, as opposed to I don't know.
Well, and they will have some lap traffic coming up here as they're closing in on Rich Butler, and that can also play a little bit of an issue.
Well, guys, I drive along with Adam Wright, and you can clearly see that he's taking it easy. This is the strategic part where we need to see what he's going to give it that last round.
Yep. And so it's pretty certain that there will be 2 laps left. Yeah.
Yep, it looks that way. So again, now fuel strategy is going to come back into play. Because did you put enough petrol in to make it around around this one extra lap? As they catch right up on the back of Rich Butler, right in the S's, which makes it extremely difficult because Rich really can't get out of the way.
No, there's no safe way here. Yep.
I'm sure he'll just try and stay out of the way now. Yep, there we go. Rich climbs. Oh, wait, no. What's Rich doing? Yep, Rich slows down and lets the train through. But that did cause a little bit of a shake-up with the guys.
It caused a little bit, but on the other hand, all three had the same issue. I don't think we should worry too much about that. I do see that Carl Ronke has a chance to come back with him driving over there.
Well, he's got Rich Butler to use as a tow-along, but he's got to get past him. So
it's like Adam Wright might make a move.
And of course, the side draft is now working in these cars as well, as he takes the inside line.
Boy, this really that is so important and good for Jeffrey Decker. That little side by side by Mike and Adam.
He gives Decker just a tiny bit of a.
This is the white flag now.
White flag. Last lap. Jeffrey's just thinking, A, do I have enough petrol? Please let me get enough round to get round. And B, keep them behind me.
Yes.
It's when Scott Dewar would release a little bit of oil on the track or some Tintax or something. This James Bond styling vehicle. Jeffrey looks like he's pulled out a little bit more of a space, a little bit more of a gap there as they come up through the S's for the final time.
There's the half-second gap.
Which is probably enough now to keep him clear down that back straight, because Bauer and Wright are going to be fighting with each other.
And
Second.
In fact, Adam Wright's got to be thinking Mike is not going to be able to close it up to Jeffrey, and we'll just go for P2 on his own.
Adam is to Mike Bowers. Look how close he is.
This battle is important for the season's point standings between these two.
Still behind him. He hasn't pulled out yet. Still behind him.
Yeah, the pass is hard because Mike is really benefiting from Jeffrey Decker's draft a little bit too much.
I don't think he's going to get there. Although I think they'll push it over the hill and see, as they're really close to each other now. They come down the hill for the very last time through the final turn. Mike Bowers! Oh, by 800ths of a second, loses Jeffrey Decker in first. With Wright.
And we see here close Max and Herrera. Oh, Max won that one.
Just by a nose.
Yeah, what about the train of Aaron Law? What are they gonna do?
Jeff Torbeck coming down with Aaron Law and Sean Ross. Oh, so close. Let's get back to Matt Rapetska in 18th as his group comes through. My goodness me, there's been some amazing racing all the way up and down the field.
Yeah, really fantastic.
Joshua Dancy, unfortunately, coming through in P24 as he goes under the bridge for the last time, down the hill into the final turn. Not the result he was expecting, I'm sure. But there you have it. Looks like that will be it.
Wow, that was an exciting race with a couple of people that I didn't expect in the front that much, but great race to see this. Let's have a quick look at the results, if I can pull them out. Yeah, here we got them. We see Jeffrey Decker on the first position, Mike Bowers on the second, and Adam Wright our third position. Great one. Hey guys, if you have to get a driver of the day, who would you pick?
Ooh, I don't know. I think I was very impressed with Scott Bell getting a P7. I thought that he started P7, he managed to keep his position, finish P7. I would be looking to give him some kudos. Also, maybe McLeod up 10 places.
Yeah, I spent a lot of my time just watching Aaron Law. He finished up 12 spots, and was just in a knife fight the entire race.
Yeah, this was an amazing race. I'm curious what the guys are gonna say about this race. See if we have anybody in the standby booth already. I don't think so. They're probably all talking to each other.
Well, it's this was not a race where many of these drivers had any time to relax.
No, and it was interesting with Leo going away. I was expecting him to come back after that drive-through penalty. But then you have a different dynamic, and always Jeffrey Decker on top. It's fun to see that. He is a one-time champion, but he's going quite well again.
Ray Bartnikowski on the Twitch stream has pointed out that Leo's black flag is cleared, even though he didn't complete a race distance.
That's good news.
Yes, but he will not get a safety point credit.
Well, that's too bad. I'm happy to hear that Leo at least next race can be back into the field, because he's always fast, and looking forward to see what kind of chaos he can create.
Yeah.
But good parts. I see now the teams as well. Scott Bell, the Danger Dads. Well, he was a little bit dangerous, but also quite safe, to be honest, because that 7th position, you can only get that when you drive solid. No, this was an awesome race. I think we have Jeffrey Decker coming here into the booth. Our race winner, Jeffrey Decker. Welcome up here. Can you hear us? Or Ian, can you unmute?
How's it going, guys? What's up?
Hey, Jeffrey. Good to see you. It was an interesting race. How was your race for you?
Very, very stressful. I'll say that. I went into... I was a little sloppy in qualifying and only really got my final lap in like a decent place. So I was a little nervous at the start of the race, and then, just found myself being a little sloppy. But somehow things fell into place, and I had like just enough of a gap to get Mike and Adam to fight there at the end. It worked out. But I'm definitely gonna need a change of shirt and underpants after that one.
Well, Jeffrey, this is Peter. I thought for sure on that last lap that you would be a sitting duck, but you held firm. Yeah, in fact, you even stretched out your lead for coming into that long back straight. But you must have been worried. Were you?
Yeah, I was super worried. I guess my biggest problem, for whatever reason, early on in the week, I kind of had this track down, and then coming into today, I was just over driving a bunch, and so on the last lap, especially in that like first and second sector, I was just like, just smooth, just keep it smooth, keep it on the track. Like that was all I wanted. And I got a really, really clean sector 1 and 2. So just enough of a gap to let me kind of relax a little bit into the final corners.
Very nice, very nice. Well, and then next week we've got a brand new track.
Oh, where are we at next week?
Hungaroring.
Ooh, yeah, very, very exciting. I think that's going to be a great Skippy track. It's really, really technical in like the GT cars and stuff. But I think for the Skippy, it'll be really, really nice. It'll kind of, I think, race like MLA maybe.
Yeah, I may have to do Hungaroring because I'm just so curious about the new track, and so it does look really nice.
Yeah, don't hold me to it, but I think it's going to be a ton of fun. Oh, there's Mike. Oh,
Mike,
this race, he had me so
Hey
stressed
there.
out.
Good job, Jeffrey.
Thanks, man. You too. I was hoping that maybe I could get you and Adam just to fight just a little bit. I don't know what happened on the last lap, but yeah.
Well, we
Very,
had a
very
little
close.
bobble. Yeah, we had a little bobble, but I knew if I was right on you, he'd be right on me. And then I'm racing for second and third, not first and second. So I was trying to leave enough of a gap where I'd get the run and get to you. and then be able to pass you without pulling him along. So it was almost right.
It was close. It was close. Yeah. Going into the chicane, I got to be honest. I was mirror driving a little bit. I definitely like broke a little early and was like being very cautious. But yeah, you guys had me really, really worried.
Well, yeah, and that little bobble there is actually what had me check up. So it was a great bobble. It saved you.
Oh. Well, there we go. Yeah. Accidental win.
No, not at all. You drove great the whole race. There was no accidents. And hey, what about the beginning?
Yeah, the beginning was crazy. I was honestly just trying to find like a happy place to sit, because you know Chris like made a pretty good move to get up into the lead and start getting some laps led, and so I was just like, I don't know, I wasn't quite ready for it yet. I was telling these guys I was over driving a little bit today, so I needed to kind of like get my stuff together early.
Yeah, the beginning was nuts.
It was crazy. It was so much fun to watch you guys. That early part of the race where I think it was 9 or 10 of you. I think it was 10 of you that were in that pack until Leo had to serve his drive-through. So then I think it was 9 of you. And, you know, it did not look like you guys were going to separate from each other at all.
Yeah,
no. For the whole race.
At one point I scrolled back and I think like the 9 were within maybe like 3 seconds max. And I was just like, oh, this is about to be a fight.
So, Mike, you know, with like 2 laps to go, it looked like you and Adam were closing in on Jeffrey, but then I think in the turn 10 chicane, you and Adam, I think on the second to last lap, you and Adam went side by side through that chicane and lost a little bit of a gap. And so, what was your thought process?
I desperately wanted to be second.
Yeah.
And fighting Adam into that chicane, I knew we had a chance of possibly losing Jeffrey. I know we'd still have pretty decent speed through there with enough laps, but I did not want to get into third place because then you're just waiting for whatever happens.
Right. And so, Jeffrey, did you see that? Did you see behind you Adam and Mike side by side in that chicane?
No, I didn't. I saw the gap drop, but I wasn't sure when it happened. Like I said, I was in like full like I need to focus on just putting a clean lap together on this last lap because I know like I had a decent gap actually after the second pit stop, and the first like 3 laps after the second pit stop I just couldn't put anything clean together. So I was very much fighting myself this race.
Peter, we also have Jonathan Dockery in the booth. We saw he had some rough incidents. Jonathan, how was your race?
We're not hearing Jonathan. Is he mute?
Practice was fine. I mean,
there we go.
So,
well, Jonathan, you just got. It looked like you were the innocent bystander who just got
picked
up. Yeah.
So I qualified 13th, and we started, and I think Josh Dancy was in front of me, and going up the hill, he was going to be inside into turn 2. So it's like, well, let's just get through the first lap clean because everybody will file out, and then we'll get started. Tires will come up to 10th, we'll race. So I'm not sure. I think it was Paul. I'm not sure exactly what exactly happened, if it was netcode or somebody blinked out, but him and Dancy got together and I got collected.
Yep.
I think the only car that had to tow out of that whole thing. I'm not sure. It sucked. So rode around for the first fuel stint solo, and then the leaders came by. So once the leaders got there, I was able to draft with them until they pitted, and then I pitted. When I came back out, I was still with the same lead pack, so it was like didn't lose a lot of time there.
Yeah. Well, you were showing once you were in that lead pack that you had the same pace as them because you were sticking right with them, and we were actually enjoying watching you, even though you were a lap down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I did anything to get a penalty because the only time I got on the mic was to let them know which side I would stay on. But I just don't qualify well. So, like I said, I qualified 13th, but whenever Jeffrey and them came by, I was able to run with them. So, it was a lot of fun.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Well, it was a terribly entertaining race to watch. I really enjoyed calling it. And I hope that everybody gets a good laugh watching it because it really was a fun race to watch.
Well, I dropped in because I was asked, but I'm going to bounce out and get ready to go to bed. I have a cardiologist appointment. So.
All right, Jonathan, thanks very much for the race, and thanks much for joining us here in the booth. Always appreciate it. When we talk about call-outs, maybe that's a good moment. Mike, anything you want to mention, or just the boring same thing?
No, just it's never boring. I actually had a little bit of a sweat on after I got done with this one, and I can't concentrate for 10 minutes, let alone 45. But no, it was really fun. The league's fun. It's a little racier, which I kind of like. I don't know. It's good. I appreciate you guys doing the broadcast, and I appreciate how clean, especially Jeffrey, we got to work together a little bit, and how clean Adam and stuff raced there, and just a lot of fun. And I thank my wife and kids for letting me be a dork.
All right.
Yeah, I gotta give a shout out to Mike, because I thought it was gonna be us there at the end in that second stint when it was just you and I. I was like, all right, let's do this thing, man. And then you had to peel off into the pits, and I was like, no.
I know. I pitted early the first time because it was getting a little sketchy, and I thought I could run good enough laps to get ahead, which I did. And I just wanted to have a breather. You know what I mean? Yeah. Get out of the chaos for a few minutes, reset my last part of the race strategy, and I was bummed too. It sucked that I had to pit that a little early, and I thought I'd come out a lot closer to you, so I took a little extra fuel, obviously.
Nice one, man. Nice one.
It was super fun racing you, as always, though.
Yep, you too. I never worry about being wheel to wheel with you. I trust you 100%.
Same.
Well, great to hear that, guys. Thank you very much for the race. It was a joy to watch again. I hope for everybody else who was watching, they also enjoyed it a lot. And Peter, any last words for you?
Well, it was a crazy fun race to watch, and I was just looking at the final results. 22 of the 32 drivers finished on the lead lap, which is incredible, and it was clean. There was that first lap incident that unfortunately collected some people, but otherwise it was pretty darn amazing to watch everyone.
No, it was very clean. And Ian, just for you, I enjoyed that you're here in the booth, but you have some speed nowadays. When is the time that we're gonna see you back in Formula One?
In SF1, I don't know. I mean, I don't feel that I have enough speed to really be back in the SF1 grouping as yet. I want to get a little bit quicker and more consistent, which is what I'm working on right now. But maybe next season, you never know. I enjoy doing the broadcast though, so
no, it's fun. It's fun to have you in the broadcast, and I won't miss that if you're still here, because we have a lot of fun over here. And I do think that Formula 2 is a great way to learn a little bit more about the skip and to get confident. Exactly what you're saying. It's a little bit of a smaller pack, so awesome.
Yes, absolutely. And I'd like to give a shout out myself to all those folks that are watching this from home, the family members, the friends, the random hangers-oners, whoever you are. I'd love if more people watched it live and posted along the side. So huge shout out to It's Gamer Sarah. Love seeing you every week and hearing your comments. We'll definitely get your shot glasses sorted out soon enough. We'll send you one of the Sunday Night Skippy shot glasses.
All right.
To out of.
All right, we have to make sure that Scott Bell's not hearing all these kind of things. But I do think maybe it's time for Sarah to come into the booth at one point. But we'll discuss that as a special guest maybe. Ian, thanks very much. I'll love to see you next Sunday, and see you guys. Have a good week for the coming week.
Yep. Take care, guys. Good night.
Good night.